Bruh, I said it, look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
It goes to Blunt. He's got a first down. He's got more. He's at the 40. He's at the 45, the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. He can't be stopped. Finally at the 4. A runaway train. A runaway train.
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live, broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to the 2017 Week 5 edition of 4th and Jawn. Boys and girls, we are 3-1. Your Philadelphia Eagles are 3-1. And last week we sat inside of this very studio, inside of these chairs, spoke on these very microphones, and talked about this team didn't win games like this last year. We talked about the maturity of Carson Wentz, the dedication to the run game, Doug Peterson learning from his mistakes, all to avoid a trap game traveling out to the West Coast at the Chargers' little dipshit of a stadium and coming away with a victory. And ladies and gentlemen, your Philadelphia Eagles are 3-1. Better than all that, the New York Giants
suck.
The Dallas Cowboys
Suck.
The Washington Redskins
Suck.
So I'm going to repeat it because it bears repeating. Remind all those NFC East fans, when they talk about our squad, to refer to them as the NFC East leading Philadelphia Eagles until further fucking notice. What a game. Say it with your chest. Speaking of Mr. Say It With Your Chest, I want to kick it off to my man, Mr. Gale Saunders on Twitter, the meme machine of meme. How'd you like that win, baby?
Bruh.
6
minutes and 44 seconds.
6
minutes and 44 seconds for this team to show what type of guts they had. And they put it on the fucking line. Balls on the table. Put it down their throat. Carson Wentz had a solid game. LeGarrette fucking Blunt. Oh, my God. LeGarrette fucking Blunt. Running like a grown man. Corey Clutch Clement. You know, those on the closing drive. Bo Allen coming up big. Oh. Two tackles for loss, a sack. The offensive line playing. I'm so excited.
Oh, so excited.
And I'm hyped for Doug Peterson.
You got a little Dougie love for you.
Oh. Love for Dougie.
Love for Dougie. Speaking of which, Mike, we're going to kick it to you next, but make sure you put that poll up on Twitter.
Poll?
We decided the Twitter poll this week was going to be, does the last two games change your mind about Doug Peterson at all? Because we were going into it negative. We were really slamming him after the Kansas City game, and rightfully so. But for the last two games, granted, it's against winless teams, but you got to admire his play calling. You got to admire his dedication to the run. And also, listen, I'll fucking say it again. I'll say it again. Because when the Eagles run the ball over 25 fucking times, they win the game. It's just that simple. Mike, working on social media, what's happening, baby?
You can hit us up on Facebook at 4th of Jawn, at 4th of Jawn on Twitter, or at 4th and Jawn on Instagram. Yo, we have like 9 home games. I think we're the only team in the NFL that had like 9 home games because the LA freaking Eagles fans was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Freaking nonstop screaming on my TV. I also want to give a quick shout out to Eagles fan 951. He was the man. He did a 4th and Jawn sign.
Unsolicited, too.
Yeah,
represented. Aaron, good old Aaron.
Good old Aaron did the 4th of Jawn side, put it up high at the stadium, making it proud for us. And I want to give a quick shout out to him. But, yo, what a win. Top of division, top of the NFC.
And the Eagles fans certainly did take that over. I have never in my 35 years of watching football have ever seen an opposing stadium taken over quite like that Chargers stadium was It was unbelievable to see that sea of green. I even tweeted at the Chargers like, yo, bro, where you people at, man?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Again, we talked about it last week, the fact that they yanked them out of San Diego and put them in L.A., force-fed L.A., 2 teams all at once was an incredible mistake. And it just goes to show it. Your fans can't even take up a 30,000-seat soccer stadium. And it's taken over by one of the best-traveled fan bases in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to have our dude Quimby from the Green Legion, who brought a ton of people out there on the show, starting at about 8:20. We're going to talk about what that experience was like, taking over L.A., the whole vibe of the stadium, what it was like to see the Eagles pull it out against the Chargers, and also about the upcoming trip, which yours truly will be a part of, when we go out to play the L.A. Rams, the whole festival before the game. It's going to be awesome. Mr. Evan Bubblegum Ear, all smiles when he came in the studio today. How you feeling, man?
How can I feel anything but just pure delight, man? Like you said, 3-1, we're top of the division right now. Giants 0-4. We don't even have to think about them for the for the rest of the season. And I could not be more happy about being wrong about the trap game. I let everyone.
It's a trap.
Everyone was. I let him get to me last week. I really did. I didn't stick with my gut. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking that the Eagles are gonna go into a soccer stadium and not own the bitch, man. The Eagles just fucking from the time the game started. I didn't have a single bad feeling about the game the whole time. I was confident the entire game, and I feel nothing but delight today. I'm all smiles.
and all those fans are going to be delighted out there, and we certainly want to hear from you, especially if you were out there in California enjoying the Philadelphia Eagles home game against the Chargers. So we want you to call in. We're going to start taking your phone calls at about 8:30. Number to call in is 215-515-2924. Just going over it again, Wentz went 17 for 31, 242 yards, a touchdown, no picks. No picks.
It's huge.
That is huge, because when you take a look at that 3-1, why did that one happen? Why did Kansas City happen? Turning the ball over, not protecting the ball, fumbles, untimely interceptions. You take that 10 points away from the Kansas City Chiefs when they played the Philadelphia Eagles, that could have been a different game. We could be talking about the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, did anybody catch that Monday night game?
I sadly couldn't.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
It was a very good game.
I was proud of Uncle Andy.
Yeah.
Uncle Andy.
Uncle Andy. Going down. He had all those timeouts at the end. He full control.
He took a page out of Dougie's book.
He learned from
Clock
Doug
management.
Peterson.
Yeah.
Learned from his prodigy.
And Colin Cowherd had some things about to say about Uncle Andy, which we'll get into later on in the show. Of course, of course, Philadelphia is a buzz once he bats that hornet's nest known as Eagles fan base with a baseball bat, calling them the dumbest. They have to be the dumbest sports city in America. We will certainly get to that.
The Eagles for a while this offseason.
He chose the Eagles to win the division this year.
Before a lot of people.
Yeah.
His ratings must be awful because he's just trying to get people to talk
now
about
he's just
it.
like,
So
yeah,
he knows if he goes after the Eagles
hive.
fan base, will come out fucking
zombies.
Well, getting back to the Chargers game, right? So the Chargers, the way I looked at it, was the epitome of what the Eagles were trying to avoid and what the Eagles were against the Kansas City Chiefs. You take a look at their play total, 53 total plays, only 13 rushing. You're not going to win a game like that. That's an unbalanced attack. You take a look at the Eagles, 74 total plays, 42 of them were rushing. So for the second straight week in a row, they've had more run plays than they have pass plays. And oh, by the way, we're getting ready to play an Arizona Cardinals team who have the 32nd ranked rush defense. The game was called well. There was no bullshit trick plays. Doug went for it when he should have went for it. He didn't go for it when he shouldn't have gone for it. I thought that this was really kind of not Doug's coming out party, but reinforced the fact that when we look at Doug Peterson, he's learning from those mistakes.
Well, I think, the running game, you're protecting Carson Wentz.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're limiting mistakes. You know what I mean? And he's been solid in the red zone. I mean, we're right now we're 8th in red zone percentage scoring. On 13 red zone drives, we scored on 62% of those drives. That's huge.
That doesn't sound like the Eagles.
It doesn't sound like the Eagles.
It doesn't sound like the Eagles.
It does not sound like the Eagles, and that is the most promising thing. I mean, you dial up that run game, it allows you to protect Carson Wentz, make big plays. And time of possession, 39 minutes and 18 seconds, dude. That's ridiculous.
It's huge. It's insane.
To 20 minutes and 42
With
seconds?
less plays.
What?
Way less plays.
Speaking of doesn't sound like the Eagles, right now the Eagles lead the league in time of possession. Look at Gale. He can't,
Chip
he can't
Kelly's
believe-
like,
Well, it's all about how many plays are on. So
Yeah, it's about how many plays we run and some snaps, and you got to do snaps, and it's not about the time
possession means nothing. So.
Time it means nothing. So of course it does, because Gale just spoke on it. You're protecting your quarterback.
And your defense.
And your defense. And the reason why they were taking shots down the field or wide receivers were getting open is because it was sucking those linebackers in. It was sucking those safeties in. They had to respect the run. Also, the way they use the running backs. Smallwood, catching passes out of the backfield. Blunt.
Roll it up.
roll that fucking blunt, bruh.
And that was a play right out of Uncle Andy's playbook. I love that play. Go back and rewatch the line work on that play. Because they used to run it with Brent Selleck, Brian Westbrook all the time. The line slides to the right. Linebackers go with him. Tight end comes around, crashes down the other side, and seals off the weak side contain.
And Zach Ertz making a block.
And that was Zach Ertz.
was
Using his
huge.
hands.
That was
Zach Ertz made a couple blocks on the day that were un-Zach Ertz-like. So he's making a change. Looked at himself in the mirror. He's like, I got to make that change, bro. Shamon.
Speaking of the line, it definitely has stepped up the past 2 weeks because we were giving the line a lot of shit, especially with the beating Carson Wentz was getting. And now that the run game's going along, and now I think the big difference here is that Wisniewski's taking over that left guard
They got
position.
that little tag team action with Warmack coming off the top rope.
I'm not a fan of Warmack for what I've seen, though, but Wisniewski's definitely one up his own, though.
Yeah.
He's made a huge difference.
Even Lane Johnson. He was manhandling Joey
And
Bosa.
Peters. Peters, that freaking old man.
Completely muted him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those
Took him out of
guys
the
had
game
a lot
entirely.
of sacks last season, those two guys combined. So, I mean, Jason Peters and
Melvin Ingram.
yeah.
Or, no, I'm sorry.
I mean, Melvin Ingram, Joey
Yeah.
Bosa, but Jason Peters and Johnson, they owned them
They did.
the whole game.
And let's give some credit to the defensive line stepping up, because in the absence of Fletcher Cox, Honey Boo Boo, one of your favorites,
Timmy Jernigan, man.
Timmy Jernigan was a beast.
Both of them, bro.
Benny who? Who was that guy we were talking about last year? We wanted to pay him.
And Long coming around, blindsiding.
Dude's got wheels.
Yeah, dude's got wheels. Barnett going up and picking up that fumble.
Yeah, Derek Barnett caused some pressure on the outside, and that guy's had he's known for his high motor. He comes from the backside and collects the fumble. I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now when we look at this New York Giants game, right, and we look at the San Diego Chargers game, we start to see almost the vague hint of something that we've looked for this entire time, which is an identity. We start to see an identity, a well-balanced attack with a stable of running backs. Remember the first show I talked about, listen, this is either really going to work or it's really not. Because all these running backs got such individual skill that is this going to be like each running back, you're tipping your hand when they come when they come to play. We talked about bringing Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck in on run plays and pass plays week 1. And now LeGarrette Blount's running the ball. Zach Ertz is making blocks. Is keeping the listen, those tendencies that Doug was showing, not there, not so much there anymore.
You're looking at that 3rd and 8 play. You're thinking they bring in Smallwood. You're thinking, all right, they're going to do a pass play on this. They go run up right up the middle with Smallwood
Totally called him
for a
off guard.
touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so those tendencies, he's playing with them. He's playing with them.
Well, you're starting to see a very tough defensive line that's going to get after the quarterback. You're seeing a couple capables. Rasul Douglas didn't have the best game. Jalen Mills was getting a lot of shit, but that one deep touchdown pass, that was on Rasul Douglas.
Yeah.
Like the safety, they were kind of bracketing coverage on the outside. The safety took the underneath tight end and just kind of he ran like the post route and just kind of let Jalen Mills hang to dry there. There was no deep safety help.
Yeah.
But they got an attacking style defensive line. Quick linebackers. Capable defensive backfield. Bend but don't break defense. You're going to have to earn every point you get.
Sometimes break.
Sometimes break. But you're going to have to earn every point you get against that defense. On the offensive side of the ball, solid offensive line. The interior's a little questionable, but arguably the best set of tackles in football. Up there. A running game that they're dedicating themselves to with a bevy of running backs with different talents and different skill sets. And outside receivers.
Chain moving guys.
Ertz. Jeffrey gets in the end zone. Torrey, listen, man. Torrey, don't make me call Jason Peters over here and have a talk with you, because he had a talk with Jake Elliott. And when Jason Peters says, hey, no more misses, Jake Elliott listens. He needs to have a talk with Torrey Smith and say, listen, pal, you got to go to the doctors, all right? Get diagnosed with a case of the aguilitis and find whatever fucking cure he had and get the job done.
Put him in a fucking bathroom.
Don't put him in the bathroom. He needs to get out of the bathroom and start using that speed and stuff like that.
I mean, we talked about his drops last week, but and a lot of people don't realize that he had a high drop rate last season. So it's continued to follow him here. Some people were barking for Mac Hollins. Are y'all on the Mac train yet?
I'm riding the Mac.
I'm in that
train.
Mac
I think you got to sprinkle in some Mac Hollins.
Is this a seasoning thing?
A little seasoning, but I think you got to give his confidence back to him by keep on going to him. Like at the end of the day, he does have that skill set. He'll stretch the defense. He just has to catch that one that he dropped. He could have been gone for 6.
It could have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But he's a veteran. It's not like a first-round rookie that's coming in expected to be the man. You know what I mean? It's all head game. Torrey Smith been there.
Yeah.
He done that.
Yeah. I think
He's made some big catches in his career. He just needs to make that big catch.
I don't think he has the weak mentality that Nelson Aguilar had last year. You remember last year in the locker room when in the post game after that one crucial drop, you could tell that just like he was in his own head. And I think that Torrey Smith has been around long enough so that won't happen to him. However, I'm starting to think that maybe it's not a mental thing, it's just a physical thing. Maybe Baltimore let him go for a reason, as did the 49ers.
He has been dealing with some injuries.
I know.
Probably injuries we don't know about.
I'm not trying to pull the trigger way too early here because we're still in the first quarter of the season. But, I mean, I wouldn't mind if we saw a little bit of sprinkling seasoning into Mac Hollins.
Yeah. That's a big-ass dude, man.
Yeah.
99 stiff arm rating in Madden, too.
No, Jesus.
You can't be serious.
Yeah.
Next week, we are welcoming the Arizona Cardinals. A 2-2 team, right? We just spoke about the New York Giants, winless team. The San Diego Chargers, winless team. It's time to start bringing in some, 500 ball clubs, some clubs with a winning record, and see how Andy, look at me.
Oh, wow.
Wow, hey, look at that. How Doug Peterson takes what he's learned against these two teams, moving on from Kansas City, and applies it to winning teams. Now, they had wins against Indianapolis and San Francisco. We're not talking about, huge victories here. We're talking about teams that are at the bottom basement of the NFL. They have losses to Dallas and Detroit. All right, 2 big losses for them. If you remember that Dallas-Arizona Cardinals game, the Arizona Cardinals pretty much shut down the Dallas Cowboys for one half. They weren't able to continue it. They didn't have the talent. They had the script. They just couldn't read the rest of the book there, and they let it go against the Dallas Cowboys, a team with the 11th ranked offense, the 26th ranked defense, averaging 18.5 points a game. That's not a whole hell of a lot.
No.
That's not a whole hell of a lot right there. 32nd ranked rushing attack, or on defense.
On defense.
32nd.
And we just
ranked,
played 31, right?
And we just played 31. So now moving into week 5, the dead last rushing defense in the NFL. 2nd ranked passing attack. So Torrey Smith, Alshon Jeffrey are obviously going to have to be on their game, as is the offensive line to protect Carson Wentz. But at the end of the day, it's about the key to success that had you winning the last 2 games, and that is run the ball.
Yeah. You don't think Doug tries to outsmart himself, though, do you? You don't think that the Cardinals see the run game coming, like how we pounded the ball against the Chargers, and he tries to outsmart them by overloading Carson again?
Well, this is going to be the test. This is the test. Okay, so you beat up on 2 winless teams. Okay, I'll give all the haters that. 2 winless teams coming away with W's. You should. I
mean, the combined record is 2-10 of the teams that we beat.
Yeah, and we were
But I'm just saying, they're NFL teams.
They're NFL teams.
They're NFL teams.
And
We'll
as
take it.
Uncle Andy would say, any win in the NFL is a tough win. You know, it's never
Get a ham
easy.
sandwich.
Time's yours.